to me impossible that I should cease to exist, or that this active, restless spirit, equally alive to joy and sorrow, should only be organised dust, ready to fly abroad the moment the spring snaps, or the spark goes out which kept it together. Surely something resides in this heart that is not perishable, and life is more than a dream.
Mary Wollstonecraft cannot cease to exist. There's too much that resides in her short life and huge work to be perishable. She only lived for 38 years, but she lived like a hurricane.
Born on the 27th of April in Spitalfields, London, Mary Wollstonecraft was a child of her time. The age of enlightenment, the flowering of social and intellectual reasoning of the 18th century. Yet even by the standards of these revolutionary times, Mary Wollstonecraft stood out. She rose from unpromising beginnings to become a pioneering philosopher, educational campaigner, and human rights advocate, as well as the foremother of feminism.
Had she achieved in one of these areas, it would merit historical glory. But Mary Wollstonecraft wasn't content with anything less than, in her own words, the future improvement of the human race. And remember, this was a world dominated by men.
Perhaps Mary is better remembered now as the author of two extraordinary documents, published in 1790 and 1792. The first, written as an angry response to Edmund Burke's Reflections on the Revolution in France, was A Vindication of the Rights of Men, and the second, A Vindication of the Rights of Women.
Mr. Burke's Reflections on the French Revolution first engaged my attention as the transient topic of the day, and reading, more for amusement than information, my indignation was roused. Not having leisure or patience to follow this desultory writer through all the devious tracks of which his fancy has started fresh game, I have confined my strictures to the grand principles at which he has levelled many ingenious arguments in a very specious garb. The birthright of man is such a degree of liberty, civil and religious, as is compatible with the liberty of every single individual with whom he is united in a social compact.
A Vindication of the Rights of Women was dedicated to the French diplomat Talleyrand, to whom she wrote,
Sir, I call upon you to weigh what I have advanced respecting the rights of women and national education. I plead for my sex, not for myself. It is time to effect a revolution in female manners, time to restore to them their lost dignity and make them, as part of the human species, labour by reforming themselves to reform the world.
As Millicent Fawcett, the suffragist, wrote a century later,
the remarkable degree in which Mary Wollstonecraft was ahead of her time is shown in almost every page of the Vindication. She claims for women the right to share in the advantages of representation in Parliament nearly 70 years before women's suffrage was heard of in the House of Commons. She knew that few, if any, at the time would be found to sympathise with her, but that does not prevent her from claiming for women what she felt was simple justice.
It appears to me impossible that I should cease to exist, or that this active, restless spirit, equally alive to joy and sorrow, should only be organised dust, ready to fly abroad the moment the spring snaps, or the spark goes out which kept it together. Surely something resides in this heart that is not perishable, and life is more than a dream.